In one year, I had greater success than the last 19 years that I was doing it. I was like,
Crazy. Yeah.
you're laying in bed. How am I going to make payroll? Or, I've got this problem or whatever. So it's like, so finally, like I'm to a point where I'm putting money in the bank. I'm putting money in the bank. I'm hiring better people, better technicians, better advisors. And so once we had all our systems in place and things were going well, it's like, man, we should look at another shop.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us for another episode of the Lift Your Shop podcast. I'm Kelsey from Lift Auto Repair Marketing, and today we have another amazing guest. We've got Jim Brown here with us from Speed Auto Repair, having 10 shops in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area right now. Jim, you are crushing it. Thanks for being on with me.
Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so to get us rolling, I mean, people hear 10 shops, are like, Jim, I can barely handle one shop. I don't know how you're doing that. We'll definitely dive into kind of how Jim is continuing to build this monster in a sense in the greater area. But what even got you involved into auto repair? How does this story begin?
Well, I started at my first store when I was 17 years old, and I was going to school and got out early, so I was looking for like a part-time job. And they opened up the Speedy Oil Change is what it used to be called, and they were looking for help. So I went down and got a job there and started changing oil for like $3.30 an hour back in the late '80s, and
Man.
I always had a passion for cars and motorcycles, anything with a motor on it. So it was cool to be around the shop and stuff. And I wasn't a great student, so I hated school. So it was like you had freedom to be out in the shop and be out with people and stuff. So just immediately fell in love with the business. I love people. I love talking with people, and it was just like a great fit for me. So I was able to connect with people very easily, and so just built a reputation there, and started building customers there, and the guy that owned Speedy Oil Change became like a life mentor to me. He was a retired electrical engineer with GE, and he got bored and started this business. And so we sort of bonded, and he sort of showed me how to learn all the positions out in the shop. And then he moved me into the office and started showing me how business worked and how to treat customers, how to retain customers and stuff. And so it was just a great fit for me because I love to help people. I love cars, and I wasn't like stuck and confined in an office and stuff. So it was just like just a wonderful fit for me.
That's absolutely amazing. So I mean, you started in the back doing kind of the basic oil change stuff. When did you move to did you go into the front and be like an advisor and experience that for a little bit?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. It was probably 3 or 4 years later. I was in my early 20s, and I started working in the office, and then I really loved the business part about it. And that way, I was able to connect with all the people and the customers, and built retention with all my customers. So people were asking for me and stuff.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
building a clientele and stuff. And the guy that owned it at the time, he saw in me something that nobody else saw. So he
Wow.
was like trying to, it's sort of a father figure and a business mentor and everything. So he let me have a little bit of freedom and to be able to grow and to learn from him. And he made me a partner in it at 24. And I ended up buying that store when I was 28 years old.
Man, that's absolutely amazing. So you had that one and running when you became a partner and then when you became the full owner, how did the team handle that okay? Or was that transition pretty smooth? Or it was like you had to kind of rip and replace some people because they're rubbing they weren't feeling very, very good about Jim being in charge all of a sudden. Like
No, well, I mean, I was pretty much running it anyway. I mean, he
yeah.
was like there in and out from time to time, but it was a pretty smooth transition. I got along well with the crew and everything, and
Yeah.
I think they're willing to follow me. So it was fantastic. But like something changed on the day that I bought the store. So like, okay, I'm doing it for him every day, and
Mhm.
but like when it become my sole responsibility, it's like, wow. I'm responsible for all these people, taking care of all these customers and stuff. So it was like, it was a big deal for me. But you have to sort of have to work through that and like, okay,
Yeah.
let's go and just sort of reset. But we were able to do that and move on and be successful with it and grow in the business. And I I ran that store for almost 20 years, just a single store, and
Mhm.
just I had kids along the way and did some other sports stuff. So I was like, I had the team set up where I could take time off, so I used the time and wasn't really focused on growing.
Mhm.
And then 2020 came, and I had the business had turned, and so I met a guy on one of the vendor trips, and he helped me out. He was like, "Man, this guy." I was like talking to him the whole time. He's like, "Man, this guy's like miles ahead of me. He's way ahead of me. Like, what am I doing wrong?" So
Oh,
yeah, so like I was like, oh, it's day and night. He's making this look easy, and I'm over here. I'm struggling, for every dollar, every dime, and all the problems and all that good
oh,
stuff. It with no processes or no systems in place. We weren't inspecting the cars. I had like a makeshift software, so we weren't documenting everything. We weren't tracking everything. There was no reporting or very limited reporting and stuff.
yeah.
So I met this guy, and he was in coaching groups, and he like invited me in. He helped me quite a bit for probably a year, teaching me the fundamentals, basics. Hey, you should get this new software, and that's when I got Techmetric software
Mm.
and started inspecting the cars. And he gave me a list of stuff along the way that I set up to get the foundation set for my original business. And
Yep.
I saw a lot of success very quickly just by
Mm.
implementing these small things from week to week, these small little processes, these small little procedures every single week. And they would go miles. It's like, wow, what's next here? And he's
Yeah.
like giving me all this stuff. So it was exciting. And
Mhm.
finally joined a coaching group and really start meeting some other owners that are, trying to, do the right thing to try to make successful shops and try to create environments for all your employees where they're successful. They have benefits, they have health insurance, they make a good pay and all that, so that really helped lunge us into the next section of our business where we's like, okay, we've got all these processes and systems dialed in, and we're making money, and it's changed
Yeah.
our whole business. Like I in 1 year, I had greater success than the last 19 years that I was doing it. I was like,
Crazy. Yeah.
you're laying in bed. How am I going to make payroll? Or I've got this problem or whatever. So it's like, so finally, like I'm to a point where I'm putting money in the bank. I'm putting money in the bank. I'm hiring better people, better technicians, better advisors, and so once we had all our systems in place and things were going well, it's like, man, we should look at another shop.
Yeah.
So we started looking around and stuff and seeing what was out there, and I had no idea of how to buy another shop because my mentor had walked me through the deal. He's not going to take advantage of me, but I had
Yeah.
no clue what I was doing on buying a business. Thank God he was a good man and did the right thing. So
Um,
uh, so that was sort of a learning curve too. How do you find the business? Where do you go? And how does all that work? And so we started looking and going and walking through deals. The first few they weren't the right deals, but you get better every time you walk through a
yeah.
deal, whether you buy it or not. And in 2020, COVID happened and all that, and a deal. Somebody brought me a deal for my second store, and that was my Alpharetta store. And I purchased that and opened that in July of 2020. And I took all the things that we were doing at the first store and implemented them there. And I had a solid guy, Tim McCord. He's been with me. He's been with me almost 25 years this year. So he knows exactly how I like things. And I was able to leave the store, and and still everything would operate how that I would want it to operate and stuff.
Mm.
So he stayed at our flagship store and make sure that, hey, you make sure that we're making money here and the systems stay together and everything stays together here. I'm going to go open this store. And so I went and opened that store and ran that for almost about 6 to 9 months until I got all the people and everything in place there. And we were like, wow, this is working. This is cool. This is super cool. And we started making money there right away. And so another store, we closed on that in July. And then I bought my North Roswell store in December of the same year. And that was one. That's our number one store now,
Mm,
and we had a very good success with that as well. And like we were taking these stores that were making $700,000 and we're making 2 million the first year. And my North Roswell store, we took that store was making 700,000. We went to 2.5 million the first year. 3.5 million the second year, and we almost did 5 million last year in four
my
years. Yeah, so
goodness.
that's the 7 bay store too. So we had
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's been pretty incredible, and so we've just continued on the journey, and so now um, we've we laid out or mapped out of how we want to be successful and how we see speed auto repair in 5, 6, 10 years and
Mm,
whatever, and we had laid it all out. So we haven't laid out that we would like to go to 25 stores by 2031. And we've hit all of our marks so far, and we'll see, what happens this year. We're trying to open 3 more stores this year
yeah.
as well.
Three stores a year. I mean, that's 15 over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Do three stores a year. Absolutely crush it. So I I have a bunch of questions as you continue to speak, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so much good knowledge here that I'm sure people want to dig in a little bit on. So one thing you mentioned where you're like, you got a mentor and they kind of like started plugging in these little processes, little nuggets, and like so, almost like magic. I'm sure some people heard it and they're like, wait, hold on, how did it magically just jump up and grow? You said that 1 year was better than the last 19 years. What, I mean, obviously, I know there's with incremental changes, it just kind of snowballs. But what are maybe the top three sort of changes, adjustments that you made that you're like, hey, if you do not make these changes or if you don't at least reevaluate these things, you're going to be stuck. So what are some of those things for me?
Oh, number one was inspecting the cars. 100% of the cars get inspected 100% of the time, every single time, no matter what. So that was number one. So that you're looking at every customer, you're documenting everything.
Mm,
So transparency to the customer, protection for us. So we're
yep.
doing the walk around videos for the cars for damage before we get in them. Filming the dashboard, documenting pulling the codes on the car to see what codes are in it prior before touching it, and then just the videos and pictures of the stuff that are broken and attaching it to motor visuals, and that explains to the customers and stuff. So a lot of customers, they just don't understand about their car. They don't know what a ball joint is, or a shock or a spring, or they don't understand it. So just being able to show them that, hey, this is your vehicle, this is the picture of your vehicle, and attach it to the motor visuals, and that shows what happens if you don't fix the car. What is the function of this part? I think it's just okay. We started educating the customer about why you need these repairs or why you need these maintenance and stuff. So I think that was huge as well. And just I would say three is creating a very clean work environment, the best tools, the best looking buildings, and because if I'm taking pride in my auto repair shops and everything's perfect or perfect in my mind, or the
Mm,
best it can be, that's going to trickle down to all your employees and your customers. I get complimented on my stores all the time. Wow, this doesn't even look like an auto repair shop. I don't see any grease on the floor or on the
yeah.
walls or anything like that. So I think just keeping the shops in tip top shape at all times, and being able to present that to the customers and to the employees, I think those top three things was probably some of the best things that we've done. And I would say, as we grew a little further along, I would say reporting. like daily reporting and daily meetings and daily huddles and coaching and training all the time and living that as a culture. I think that's what's helped us be successful in growing that fast. But because if before, a lot of people, you're going all month and you're digging along and you're trying to do your best and you're trying to put the net you can to the bottom line, but like, and you're waiting on your P&L, which comes out 15 days later. For most people back
Yep.
then, it's too late. Then it's too late. It's too late to make the changes. You can learn for next month, but that month's gone. So
Yeah.
the best thing that we've done is daily reporting and comparing that out and sending that. We have reporting that comes out every single morning. It tells yesterday's sales, where your weekly sales, your monthly sales, what your goal is, what you did in 2025, your car count, your ARO. So it's like every you know where you stand every moment
Mm.
at our store. You know exactly how far you're off from your goal, or if you've been successful. I think that's been just a huge part in our success, is definitely being able to get information very quickly and
Yeah.
be able to make those changes super fast.
Yeah, being able to being transparent with the team. Some people are a little bit scared to share the numbers that kind of go like, oh, how much money is Jim making from us? Like, what's going on here? But no, like there's obviously you incentivize them the right way. They like they get paid a great living. And I know we chatted about this very, very briefly, and you're very passionate about kind of that journey that team members take through your shops. And obviously, you're continuing to grow, and you're building a whole organization in terms of
Yes.
the different ways that people can move laterally, which I want to we would definitely jump into as well. But I wanted to talk about then the shift that you had from one store to two stores, and we kind of like you chatted about, hey, yeah, there was the first few deals didn't work out, and then like that this one came to be, and it worked out. I'm curious why, like what. So in terms of, because some people are maybe in that position right now, where like I think I'm ready for the second store. Maybe they're not sure, but also it's like it's daunting. Like I've never bought a store. I don't know what a good deal even is. So like
Yeah.
what made maybe the first couple not good deals to kind of start?
Really, it was just like the car count. They had already ran the businesses in the ground, and they wanted too much money or
Yeah.
whatever. So we always just look at the last 3 years of what they've done, the condition of the shop, the condition of the equipment, what's their car count. Well, how many cars are they seeing a week and stuff like that. So we're looking at the whole big picture of how much money can we go in and make money uh, pretty
Right
quickly
away.
here.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking to do.
So
And,
there's certain like metrics on the P&L that you're like, these things you highlight in your brain already, and if this doesn't match in the parameters, boom, throw it away, or is it something
well,
deeper than that?
not necessarily, man. It all depends on the location. A lot
Mm.
of times we'll look at the location, and it could be losing money. But like, okay, what can we do this? What if I bring this speed otter up here and put all of our systems and processes and our people over here? What could I do with that store? So sometimes, what they've done previously is not the end of the story there. So if they did really poorly, we'll look at the store and see what we think that we can do out of the store. But yeah, mostly we look at their customer data. How good of data do they have? Do they have full names, addresses, emails, phone numbers, and all that stuff, and how many active customers they have? And of course, you're looking at the bottom line and how much money they paid. But that's not the end of the story either. And how long the employees have been there, what kind of condition is the store in, what condition is the equipment in, and then we look at all the demographics around the store, like everybody else. We're looking at how many households are within a 2 or 3 mile radius.
Mm.
What is the traffic count out on the road? And all the things like that. So
Yeah. Are there, I guess, since the location is pretty important, so are there certain parts of the location that you're like, yeah, we don't want to touch that? I mean, maybe again, sometimes people are like, yeah, just like the area and the household income may be a little bit of a struggle in terms of what your system is set in place to be, and you're like, I probably can't bring value to this community in the way that I believe they need. But are there, I guess, what sort of do you look like in terms of the location parameters?
I mean, we're looking at 10 to 15,000 houses in the 2 to 3 mile radius. We're looking for 100,000 or more income. Is always
Yep.
always a good thing. How many people are in the household where they have kids, and things like that. And
Okay.
so,
And then and so some people talk about just like kind of like the drive-by rate. How many cars are just driving past? So is it important for like that to be high and not be hidden in the back of like an industrial park? Are those things that you
uh,
also factor in as well?
yeah, absolutely. All of our locations are prime locations, and they have a high car count. We like to see anywhere from 40 to 50 or greater thousand cars a day passing by.
Okay, perfect. And then in terms of like the price point that like people are like offering, like obviously sometimes it's like okay, that's audacious, but sometimes it is in line. So what makes a price point in line or a good deal? Is it just a multiple of net profit plus kind of some of the things you talked about there, or like what makes a good deal?
Well, I mean, of course, it's net profit. What they've done in the last 3 years, or an average of that, but also, again, customer data.
Mm,
How good of data that they taken in the last 3 years. Like, are we going to be able to reach out to these customers and stay in contact with them? Of course, location. If you're in a prime location, that's going to shoot up the value.
yeah.
And again, it goes back to the equipment, how long the employees are going to have been there. If you have a shop that all the employees have been there 10, 15 years, that you're going to be able to take care of those people. They're good people and they've done a
Mm,
good job to get this far, that you're going to be able to, that there's value in the people. There's value in the equipment. There's, the value in the location and stuff. So,
yeah, yeah. And I was gonna bring up that question in terms of like 'cause sometimes people get scared like, oh, I want to buy a business that has all these people that work there. Like, how are they gonna listen to me? Like, how do they buy into the speed auto repair culture pretty quickly?
well, I mean, the way I always approach it, we're here. We're not trying to shake up everything and change your lives. We're here to make your life better. And
Mm,
and being a bigger company now, we are able to provide different things. We're able to provide 401k
mm,
with a nice match, full health insurance, dental, vision, and all the things that people need to
yeah,
survive.
yeah.
And provide that for their family, provide good pay for them. So the money that you're making now at this store, we're going to increase the sales, which is going to be more money for you and more money for your family, and all the things that you're doing. All the things that we can provide. As far as benefits and everything, and just a clean work environment, a company that you can grow in. So if you're an advisor and you've been an advisor for 10 years here, we open up the field. We open up the whole playing ground for you. If you want to become a manager, make more money, or you want to move into a district manager, area manager. I mean, there's all kinds of things that opens up. You're not stuck being a service advisor with our company. There is potential to grow for everyone here.
Yeah, no, I love that. And let's dig into that in terms of like I know you're passionate about internal team members growing within the company, not always like so like some people are like, you know what, I just need to pull from this place and hire and plop this person in and kind of stunt the growth of some of the current team members. So how do you allow and foster people to kind of rise to that occasion and allow that growth? Because I mean, not everyone is suited for a leadership role. It's just not the
Yeah.
way some people are cut out to be. They can be trained, but we don't all have years and years to be able to train someone into being the perfect leader. So how do you go about that process for speed?
Well, it's really if well, they start out at the role that you start out. So if they're a service advisor, and the number one thing we look is, do they fit our culture?
Mm,
That's number one. Do they feel and are they able to lead the way that we want them to lead? And to live our culture, and be able to make decisions in the way that we want to make decisions. But yeah. I mean, it's like it just. Feeling that you have the right people in that position, knowing you're working with them long enough that hey, this guy's ready to be promoted. This guy, we're holding this guy back, or this guy is ready for to take on more. And that's on the front of the house, but at the back of the house, we have guys start all the time that are starting in this GS position. They're making 15, $20 an hour, and they're like, hey man, they've got this. They're really talented. They can, they're great parts changers or whatever,
Mhm.
and or whatever. They're great. At figuring stuff out. So to be able to pour into those guys and get them some education, to get them some training, to pair them up with a technician, an A-level technician, and to grow them and see them go. But okay, they're on flat rate now, $30 an hour, $35 an hour, and watch that guy get his 40 hours a week consistently, and then go from a C tech to a B tech, and and to watch him go through that whole process in 2 or 3 years, and go from a guy making $50,000 to a guy making over $100,000. That's life changing for him and his family. And now it's not just a job. Now he's got a career, something that he can build on, and something that he's always going to be able to earn an excellent living with him. So that I loved to see guys change their lives like that and buy their first home, buy their first car, take care of their kids, and go on a family vacation and stuff. And that's what it's about, being able to see. I'm all about growing. I love this business. I love what I do. I have the energy and the fire to go out and to make things happen. So it's good to see all these guys be able to bring those guys up along with us,
Mhm.
and that's a winning culture. Everybody's winning. I say it all the time. If we win, you guys win every single time. And
Yeah.
our customers win by better service. Fixing the car right the first time, getting the car out super quickly, and everybody's living that. So that's part of our culture.
Yeah, and I can feel it. I feel it as you're speaking, and you're passionate about it. And I'm sure as your team kind of just you've naturally emulated that, and so they know what to represent. Now you have 10 shops. So obviously there's not 10 of you, Jim. And so how is it that then each team understands what you expect of the shop? Because like one is no different than the other. How often like are you having to visit each shop once a month, or what does it look like in terms of how does Jim split up his time?
Well, I guess it happened about after store four, we started building out our corporate team,
Mm.
and the back end. What it's our magic in the back.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
making sure every store has what they need. So it was building out our corporate team was a huge part of that, and be able to continue to grow and to have those people. But me personally, I try to hit every store at least once a week, and I just like to go in and talk with everybody and make sure I want to know every single employee. Still, I try to go in and meet every single person and find out something about them, and try to connect with each person and find out what drives those people. So I'm in there and just sort of like cheerleading, and I
yeah,
call it finding out what the heartbeat of the business. Because if you're not in your stores, you're not going to know what's going on. I don't care what you
yeah.
say. So I go in and I can tell, if something's off or whatever, and then you just figure it out from there. But we have three district area managers that help me as well. So they have the store split up now that they're visiting those stores every day, and taking care of those. So that allows me to just sort of be the cheerleader, and they sort of in the operations and solving the problems and stuff. So.
Yeah, no, that's also creating that balance. So it sounds like after four, what would you say was, I guess, the easiest transition from what shop to what shop, and what was the hardest transition from what number to
Oh, 1 to 2 is definitely the hardest
hardest?
because
Okay.
yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
You're not 100% sure that all your processes and procedures are going to work here. Because every
Yeah.
store is a little bit different. Every area, every demographic's a little bit different, and you have to tweak that a little bit. But just being able to say, okay, here's all of our stuff, and trying to train a whole nother set of people on these processes and procedures.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more time consuming. I had to be there for that second store every single day for all the way, 6 9 months until
Yeah.
we got the people in place and in position. Our easiest store was from 2 to 3, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
because it just had a super successful shop, and it like just grew super super quick.
Oh,
So
nice. Yeah,
yeah.
that works out nice. In terms of time frame for people, in terms of like, hey, like when you get close to being like, yeah, this is the deal, to then when it closes, to then when you say you officially turn it around, or it's like, yeah, this is speed now. Because obviously it's not like a overnight typically. I mean, maybe sometimes it is based on what you
Yeah,
created. But I'm curious in
yeah.
terms of like, yeah, when you're like, hey, yeah, I think this is the deal for us, to when it closes, to when it turns around to being speed. What does that time window look like?
Well, once we go to the closing table, we try to move super quickly. We try to go in any kind of construction or any kind of remodeling or anything. We do that super fast.
Mhm.
I never try to shut a store down. I always try to work through that and keep it
Yeah.
going the whole entire time. Usually, in the past 3 or 4 years, usually in 90 days, I can say, hey, this is speed auto repair, and then we're set in and we're getting our marketing plan in place, and everything starts to fire on all the cylinders usually after about 90 days, and you've got your people set up. They know what the expectations are, they know what their goals are, and we're starting to collect customers and starting to get a lot of new customers and stuff, and so you can really start seeing it change after 90 days.
Yeah. And then what is the expectation in terms of, say, obviously the price that you pay, to when you're saying, yeah, now it's cash flow positive, in terms of, yeah, we broke even, where it's like I got all the money back that I paid for it, plus now you're just making gravy on top. So what does that window look like for people?
Well, every deal's different, but I
Yeah,
always
yeah,
try to see how quickly we can get the money that I've got laid out
yeah,
back.
yeah.
So, every deal's different. Usually, and use hopefully in the first year you get whatever you put
Nice.
out.
Okay.
But it just depends on the deal.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was a set expectation. I guess what for you, what has been what you would the worst deal in terms of like how the longest it has taken to get to break?
What, what as far as to close or to get it going?
I would say to say, I mean, say you're buying a shop for $1 million, and it took you to the point of like I profited $1 million, and it took this long to like wash that out, so that now I'm actually making money. What is the longest time window that maybe took? Which store was it?
Well, it was a store that I sold actually.
Ah, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I sold it, and well, I bought it, and it was in the a lower income area, and
Mm,
it wasn't doing very much money, but I liked the location. I went in there and really tried to make it work. And we had some success, but it was like, okay, this store is never going to do that. It's never going to live to the expectations that we want out of a store. So we ran that for 3 years, and we ended up just selling that one off because
yeah.
and moving out of that area. And I had another store that was relatively close, so we just moved all those customers to there. So
Oh, okay. No, that works out nicely then. Man,
yeah,
this has been awesome, Jim.
thanks.
You come with great energy. I'm sure people have lots of other questions like, Kelsey, why didn't you ask this when you brought this question up? So I apologize for those that are still listening. It's again, when it's a fire hose of information, and I try to glean and dig where we can. But again,
Sure.
hopefully people have continued to get great information as we've chatted. But Jim, as sort of a parting gift for people, I like to talk about like, hey, if there's a book that you recommend that, hey, shop owners, I know not every shop owner loves to read, but sometimes the impact that it can make into one's life is gigantic. Same with you mentioned like DVIs and just simply just starting
Yeah.
doing that. So is there a book like that for you that you're like, hey, you should read
Uh,
this one?
well, I mean, yes. Gino Wickman, Traction,
Yeah.
that changed my life, and that's how we run our business on EOS, and we have
Okay.
we have an amazing implementer today, and we would not be as successful as we are today without him. So that I read that book, and I was like, wow, this is like simplifies how to run and grow a company, and
Mhm.
that's been a huge part of our success and our setting goals and how we run our weekly meetings, our quarterly meetings, and lay everything out. It was just a huge impact for me.
That's awesome. And I know some people get a little bit scared of the implementation price and whatnot, but I mean, I've only heard rave reviews about
It,
starting EOS and doing that. And sometimes people don't think, well, auto repair shop is different. We don't need EOS and an implementer and doing all this thing. But if you want to treat yourself like how you want to treat a real like a business. And truly, like an auto repair shop is a real business. And like, and if you're trying
Yes.
to build multi shops, like you're gonna need to run it a little bit differently and build some.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great recommendation. Those again that haven't read it, please go ahead and read it. I have it on my shelf here somewhere. So somewhere it's up here. But that is awesome. But again, Jim, for those that maybe want to reach out to you personally, like, hey, I have a question. This story really resonated with me, or like Jim, I am on the fence of one shop to go into two. I know it's hard, but I need help looking at this deal. Like, is there a best way to reach out to you?
Absolutely. Email or call me on my cell phone. I love helping people. I have no problem with that. Anybody that has any questions that I can help them with, I'd be more than happy to help anyone.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I won't have you just throw that out here into the ether of the internet. But so if you are interested, reach out to myself, and I can get you connected with Jim, and make sure that again he can be of great assistance to you. But Jim, I
Sure.
appreciate all your time today. Really, I mean, again, you're running 10 shops, and you forked out some time to meet with me, so I
Yeah.
really do appreciate it. I hope people got a lot of information here from Jim. If there's things that I missed, throw it down in the comments. Maybe I'll get Jim back on for another podcast episode. It's like, hey, people had so many questions. I missed a lot. So we got to meet again because you have so many shops. But again, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. But I'm Kelsey with Lift Out River Marketing. Talk again next time. See you guys. Bye.
Thanks, Kelsey.